I have a question for you. Are you your worst critic? Some of you being honest with yourself, you know you are shaking your head. Even though you may not want to, you probably are. Let's break that down a little bit. Why is that? Why are we often our worst critic? I personally believe it comes from a misassociation in terms of what's relevant, what's most important, as well as the feedback that we receive or we don't receive. I'm kind of envisioning a person that is a prolific writer and no one sees their work. Are they no less of a prolific writer? I also have a vision of a phenomenal songstress or singer. If no one hears them sing, are they no less a great singer? We often judge what we do, how we do, and how well we do based upon external feedback, right? If people say that I'm good, then I'm good. If people say that I'm bad, I am bad. If I say that I'm good, that's a struggle. If I say that I'm bad, it seems a little bit easier. Why can we be so hypercritical of ourselves and judge ourselves even when we don't even know what the rubric is? I'm thinking about how I see young people, young children, when they can make a simple mistake, they can say things like, I'm so stupid. And if you're a parent or adult, please correct them quickly, because what happens is they are trying to find their rubric and trying to understand how to make sense out of life. So many people are going around today and they discourage, they're disgruntled, and they deal with such a low level of self-esteem to where they're unable to share the brilliance that God has given them with the world. If I am talking to you and you are one of those individuals, I want to challenge you today and I ask you, what is your rubric? How are you grading what you are, what you're not? And who told you that you wasn't good enough? Who told you? And some of you is like, well, people didn't have to tell me because they didn't tell me that I was good enough. Let me share something with you. The absence of feedback shouldn't be the automatic default to where we will begin to start thinking something is bad. I can't say it means something is good as well. I'll just say it's just not, it just hasn't been evaluated. And so as you're tuning in, as you're looking, it's time for us to stop with this false critiquing. It's time for us to stop using the wrong measures to determine what we have going on, what we don't have going on. Because I can tell you what it will do. It will stymie your growth. It will prevent you from being able to achieve destiny and purpose, primarily because you will not nurture the brilliance that God has given you. And if you don't nurture the brilliance that God has given you, you won't understand that you're supposed to actually judge what's good, what's bad in your life based upon you executing the gifts that God has given you. Or I like to say the brilliance that he's given you. So many of you, you're tuning in and you know that you have something special to share with the world around you. You have a gift, you have a talent. You have even a message, but you're so fearful of this elusive rubric that you have in your mind. And sometimes, truth be told, that rubric can come from a misplaced critique when you was younger. I think it's something to be said about when individuals that are young and very impressionable receive untimely, inaccurate feedback concerning a performance that they're doing or not doing. For someone to, as an example, someone can say, you suck at swimming, and it's your first time in a pool. Of course you suck at swimming. Why wouldn't you suck at swimming? If you got in there and was a natural, I would have to question if you got fish DNA, right? But what we have to do, we have to realize that we have to start giving ourselves the opportunity to grow, to develop, to explore, so we can uncover this brilliance that God has given us. So on today, people of God, it's time to stop this unfair critiquing. It's time to stop judging what you got going on, what you may not have going on. And I highly encourage you to get some good, appropriate counsel around you, individuals who can speak truth, individuals who can say that, man, I see a spark there. I don't see that it's done turned into a flame yet, but I do see a spark. And in doing so, we can actually begin to start developing the appropriate rubrics, which is going to help us to surface our brilliance, because I think one of the major challenges we are dealing with today is that individuals have not learned how to surface their brilliance, and what they're doing is mimicking other people, i.e., I call it a cheap knockoff. And I've even said before, if someone beating you at being you, that's sad, right? That's sad. So I want to encourage you on today to lift up your head. You are good at some things. There's going to be some teenagers and younger individuals who are exploring what they may be good at. Don't stop right now. It's too early to tell. Give yourself a chance. There's going to be some individuals who are elderly looking at me. And you're going to be like, man, I am getting up there in age and I still haven't discovered what my brilliance is. There are still time. You are living and you are breathing. And since you are living and you are breathing, there is ample time for you, through prayer, consecration, meditation, to begin to start uncovering some things that are very much for you. But you have to stop, first of all, with the judging yourself, with the comparing yourself, with the sizing up your gifts, your talents, your efforts with those others around you, because every time you meet someone who have discovered their brilliance, you cannot compete with them. Let me say that again. Every time you meet someone who've discovered, nurtured, and honed their brilliance, you cannot compete with them. And why wouldn't you? You're so wonderfully and uniquely made. Why try to compete with someone who is good at what they do? You're great at what you're supposed to be doing. So let's lean in and begin to start trying to discover that. Someone may be asking the question, but how do I do that? Let me give you some practical applications. A couple things. I have multiple books on brilliance, surfacing your brilliance. I have a book on follow the favor. That will be one that'll help you. These books, just in short, they came through living life, through experimenting, as well as discovering that there were patterns of which that I could follow that lent itself to me learning more about who I am, what I'm called to do, what I'm good at, and even better, what I am brilliant at. And so I'm going to encourage you to start studying, get material. In essence, you need to start studying so you can expand your worldview as well as expand your schema so you can see farther than you can see. As one who gets to travel a little bit, what I've discovered is that there are so many similarities between all of us. Similarities just as it relates to being human, but at the same time, I've also been in places and I've seen people do some brilliant things, very brilliant things, such as me seeing sometimes how certain people cook and they can nonchalantly, and it seems like they're just throwing things together and it just works. You can see that in sports too. Have you ever ran up and saw someone who was playing a sport and it seemed effortlessly, they was like their efforts just didn't, and you went out and tried the same thing, it didn't work? Guess what? Their brilliance, not your brilliance. Have you ever met someone who was able to talk so eloquently, who was able to break things down as far as concept to where they was easily understandable and easily to remember, and you was like, man, if I had that. Believe it or not, some of that is skill, but also there are some gifted orators out there who just can articulate themselves so extremely well because they're talented, they're gifted, and they have a brilliance. I guarantee you have a brilliance. Let me give you a pointer. Sometimes you got to be around the right people to help you uncover it. Sometimes you have to be in the right environment to help you uncover it. For example, if you are a fireman and you have a knack and a brilliance for fire science, but you haven't discovered that, no one has discovered it for you, You could find yourself doing a lot of other things, but it won't feel fulfilling. When you flow into your brilliance, it can feel effortlessly, like a flow, as well as you'll get a sense of fulfillment out of it. And you're like, I found my zone, I found my place. And my desire is for everyone to find their zone and their place, because as people locate that and begin to start contributing it, we're going to see so many blessings come upon humanity, whether it's musical arts, whether it's architecture, whether it's leading, heroic leading or courageous leading, whatever it may be, we are in need of individuals to surface their brilliance. You are like no one else. You are a one of a kind. And if you are one of a kind, that means that there is not a price that is put on your head, because there is nothing to compare to. I'm reminded of a story of an individual talking about that they found some gemstones. And when they took it to a jeweler or a person who was very familiar with gemstones, the person said that it was literally worth nothing, because there is no comparison. Because all the comparison, the most expensive jewels in the earth or in the world, they had a certain level of flaws on them. More of this story, true story, is that your flaws contribute to your brilliance. So learn what your brilliance is, take your brilliance, your flaws and all, and let's bring it to humanity for the blessing to which it can do for people around you. Amen. Amen. Be blessed.